All right, let's go. Hey, welcome to another edition of the Ripple Effect Podcast. I am your host, Steve Harper. Today, I am recording, of course, because you can hear me, but I'm also going to record this for the YouTube channel. So I've got quite a unique setup I've got going on here. I actually have not had my cameras out in a while. And it was kind of fun getting everything back out and sort of organized in my studio this morning. It's a early Saturday morning. I got up at around 5. I don't know why. I would like to sleep in, but actually I'm on a cadence now, right? So I get up early during the week, so I tend to get up early on the weekends. And rather than sit around, just watch TV or do nothing of real value, I decide to come in and talk to you good folks. And I actually want to share today a pretty cool, I think, episode where I talk about some of the things that have been game changers for me, some things that, some habits that I've adopted that have really changed everything for me, right? So we're going to dive into that a little bit. But for those of you that are on the YouTube channel, we've got the multi-camera situation going on here. So there is my Canon camera. I know if you're listening to the podcast, this doesn't make any sense to you, which would prompt you potentially to go ahead and listen to this at the gym, on your travels to and fro, wherever your listening pleasure drives you, right? But when you get back to your computer, look for me on YouTube, Steve Harper, The Ripple Effect. You can find me, search me up. I am not the keeper that often comes up on YouTube that's named Steve Harper, nor am I the Canadian Prime Minister. But, you get the picture. I'm just the Ripple guy. So look for Steve Harper, The Ripple Effect. You should be able to find me. If not, go to my website, ripplecentral.com. We've got a link there to the YouTube channel, and you will find this video where we will be posting this so that you can see what I've got going on here, this multi-camera angle thing. So I started here, got this nice, beautiful Sony camera right in front of me. I've got a Canon camera. It's a T6i for those nerds out there that are curious about what I'm recording on. I have a couple of iPhones that I have prostituted to be my additional sets of camera views. I've got one that is pointed at what I call the Vader cam, mainly because I have a shadow just for a little bit, because when it gets daylight here, this will not appear, but I've got this great outline of Darth Vader that I've somehow created magically right next to the Flash, right next to Michael Myers and Roddy Piper from WWF. And so you don't want to miss that. You want to go find this channel so you can see it. And of course, if you are seeing this video, you're seeing the great view that I am telling my listening audience. Of course, I got my FaceTime camera, which kind of sucks for iMac. I got to be honest with you. I'm really disappointed that iMacs do not have a higher quality, better camera, especially with more people doing live streams and Zooms. I'm sure the next generation of iMacs, Tim Cook is a genius. He will no doubt come out with a better camera for the iMac, but alas, I have an older generation one. It's not that great, but that camera is available to us as well. And then I also have behind the scenes where you can't see anything but my head, and another view of a different Darth Vader, which I think is kind of cool. And a really badass lamp that my wife got me that actually illustrates the Death Star. So this clearly I am a Star Wars nerd. I'm wearing a Star Wars hoodie, one of my favorite hoodies. This is actually the first time this year I've worn it, actually, since it got cold, but it's got my dark side and my light side on my sleeves, and I just love it. Anyway, I am a nerd, so sorry about that, but I digress. First of all, happy 2021. I would love to say that we turned the page, we're changing our year, our mojo is back, everything has returned to normal, but of course, as we know, that is not the case. As evidenced yesterday, I turned 50 on Thursday. January 14th was my birthday. I've just turned half a century. I cannot believe it. I am 50 years old. I remember looking at people that were in their 50s when I was probably in my teens and 20s and like, oh my God, you are so ancient. And now I am one of those people. And now I'm a little self-conscious about it because I'm walking around thinking young people are looking at me like, oh my God, you're so ancient. Yes. No, I am not. I am wise, my young little Padawans. I have much to teach you. And I do not feel 50. I got to be honest with you. 50 is just, right now in this time period of my life, I think is just a number. And I'm not at all concerned with it. I don't feel like I am over the hill. I got all the old man jokes. I got all the, you know what? Look, I am still a badass. I probably can kick still some serious ass. I still play soccer and will bruise the youngest person out there if I can. My maturity level has not ever probably gone above the age of 15, as evidenced by my comments of what I share with my boys, and they just put their hands up in embarrassment. Yes, so I think it's important to have a young man's attitude as you are aging, because that is what life is about. And I think if you feel old, then you are old. And if you feel young, doesn't matter what the age is. And so that right there, my friends, that is my secret to life, my secret for the Ripple Man and how I am coexisting with this world as we speak. But I wanted to talk today because it kind of ties in. So it was a really unusual week. I talk about the pandemic a little bit, but the pandemic has been a problem. I had to get quarantined earlier, in December, right around the holidays, because I got around somebody that ended up testing COVID positive, 2 guys actually. I should have been a little more diligent with who I was taking meetings with, but I did not do it, and it came back to bite me. Fortunately, it came back negative. As many of you know, my dad took a pretty nasty fall in early November and broke his femur in 5 places, had surgery, caught pneumonia, went to the rehab hospital. They said, you're not making enough progress, got to kick you over to skilled nursing, where he caught COVID. He kicked COVID in the teeth, goes back to the skilled nursing, catches pneumonia, goes back to the hospital, and has finally been now released this past week, actually, to the rehab hospital, which is fantastic because, let's face it, we're looking at this guy. He turned 86 on December 21st. He is the model of a badass. Let me just say, he is somebody that I've just got to say is just amazing, because he is somebody that is no doubt, the toughest guy that I've ever met in my life. But he's overcome all these things, and looks like probably somewhere around a week from now, he's going to be able to be released to home. A month and a half ago, we were worried that he would have to go to a skilled, more maybe a adult living situation where he had some additional help. But he's kept working. He's kept fighting. He's so diligent. He just, he is my absolute hero. And everybody that doubted him, I'm like, nope, you don't know my dad. You do not know my dad. He is a badass mofo. As I have told people on social media, he is one tough old bird. And so he's inspired me. But COVID affected that, right? And there are a lot of people that didn't have good positive outcomes on COVID, or have had long-term ramifications because of having it. He kicked it squarely in the teeth, and it ran away like a little scared puppy dog. So that was awesome. And so he's 86 now, and just awesome. But COVID has now come to affect other aspects of our life. We found out yesterday we were playing a high school soccer tournament. Not us, my son, who's a senior, playing for a high school soccer team. And they had a tournament last week. Champions. We are the champions, my friends. Oh, yeah. Well, not we, them. They are the champions. But you get my point. Anyway, they won last weekend's tournament, come back this weekend to a local tournament. That tournament last weekend was out of town. Not that that's relevant, just sharing a little factoid. But anyway, they win this tournament. They win this tournament last week, coming off a high, ready to rock into this tournament, kick the crap out of all 3 teams that they're going to play this year or this weekend. And they ended up tied for Thursday's game. Show up on Friday. Sorry, guys, you can't play because 2 of your players turned up COVID positive. Boom. Done. Shut down for 2 weeks at minimum. And so super disappointing, right? I was really bummed for him and for his teammates, because they are just riding some serious momentum into the season, which actually officially was supposed to start next Tuesday with district play, and now that is over and done with for at least 2 weeks. So it's weird, right? So we're coming into 2021, and it still feels like more or less a 2020 hangover, which is no bueno in my opinion. But what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? It's just one of those frustrating things. So, hey, Vader, what do you think about this? COVID sucks. Real bad. Yeah, I agree, Vader. Really, really agree. Those sound effects brought to you by nobody in particular, just me, because I have no budget for this show. So what are you going to do? I don't even have a soundboard that will play cool sound effects. That might be my next upgrade. Pardon me while I take a sip out of my world's best Boss Cup, brought to me by Kyle Click, who works for me in my software company, and he's amazing. Got me this for Christmas last year. It's fantastic. Love it. If you don't know what that mug is from, it's from The Office. Michael Scott, which I have been accused of being from time to time. Not proud. Well, maybe a little proud that I have been called that. I don't know. Anyway, so, but, all right. Let's talk about what we came to talk about today. I've had a number of people that know that all of a sudden I've had this stride of a year or two of really good mojo going on. Despite even all the negative stuff, right? The COVID, we've had downturn in the economy a couple of times. We've had some challenges, in a couple of different ways. But people have asked me, what have I done, right? And I've adopted a couple of key habits that I thought might be beneficial to you that could potentially change everything for you like they have changed for me. First and foremost, if you're watching on the YouTube, this is one of the things that I have tried to do a little bit more religiously, which is, and you that are listening are like, hey, what is he showing? I don't understand. I need to get on that YouTube channel. You do need to get on the YouTube channel. You need to subscribe. You need to like. You need to turn on that notification bell, and so you get notified anytime I do one of these things. But anyway, you're listening, so that's awesome. But you can't see that I'm holding my journal. And I closed out a journal last year, probably about October timeframe, and started a new one. As you can see, I'm not super consistent with it. I probably could be better, but what I have tried to do is force myself every day to just capture a few thoughts, kind of go back and write down some things that I'm either experiencing, maybe some stuff that I'm dealing with, some hopes, some dreams, some revenge notes. No, I don't put any revenge notes. That's a totally different journal and for a totally different episode. But I'm kidding. That's so unripple-like of me to say that. I don't really have people. I do not have a revenge journal. That would be just sad and sadistic, and it sounds like one of those made-for-TV crime movies. Not me. No, not at all. But the journaling has really helped me because it's allowed me to kind of, get some of the thoughts out on paper, even just, free-flowing of ideas, etc. Journaling has become one of my great daily habits that has really made a huge impact. One of the other things that, and I've told my coaching clients this for years, but one of the things that's really made an impact to me is, especially this past year, is I've turned off my electronic devices about an hour before bed. So I'm not checking Facebook, I'm not checking Twitter, I'm not on the news sites or anything that could agitate me or frustrate me, etc. And so I'm turning that stuff off. And then what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to go to bed an hour early, and I've tried to get up an hour earlier. And what I mean by that is really actually I'm just, getting my body sort of situated and ready to relax and settle down for the night. As many of you know, I've had some different challenges with insomnia over the years, and it comes and it goes. But trying to settle myself and my thoughts down early in the evening has seemed to really help me with that. Those little bouts of insomnia still happen from time to time, but they're not as lengthy. They used to go for 7, 10, 14 days of time where I'd sleep maybe an hour or two. That has gotten better. I'm also, on a nighttime activity, trying to minimize the alcohol intake. I wouldn't say I drink heavily, but, I drink and I recognize how my body chemistry is processing. Maybe it's age now that I'm half a century old, how it's processing that alcohol. And I've heard alcohol can stay in your system to up to 6 hours, which means if you're having a drink at 6 o'clock, a beer, whiskey, whatever, hey, no judgment here. But your body, it could take up to midnight to process that. And what happens is it's kind of like, adding a little bit of fuel to the furnace, because alcohol turns into sugar, sugar turns into energy, which creates restlessness, creates, all sorts of body chemistry changes. And those things affect how well you sleep and maybe if you can sleep at all. And so that has actually been something I've been trying slowly to adapt into my life to be a little better in that regard. But get to bed an hour earlier and then get up an hour earlier. I go and I incorporate some sort of exercise first thing in the morning. I didn't today because I'm going to go to the gym here in a little bit, but I wanted to come talk to you guys. I wanted to film this thing, and it's still dark outside. And on Saturday, for some stupid reason, LA Fitness does not open until 8 a.m. How dumb is that? On regular days, 5 a.m. Perfect, right? Yeah, I can get there. I'm sitting in the parking lot by 4:45. I'm like, hey, let's open sesame, open. They don't do it. Actually, they got a new girl that's working. She opens like 5 minutes early. I love her. I'm voting her employee of the month every month. That it's not really my ability to vote them, but I tell and give great feedback every chance I can because I think she's phenomenal. It's awesome. But on the weekends when people want to get up and go and get that out of the way, can't do it. 8 o'clock. So I started running a little bit. I started walking. I'm incorporating this new Navy SEAL routine. So this that you see here hopefully will transform over the next couple of years. Again, if you're listening, you can't see me, but I'm not. I'm in good shape, but I want to get into better shape. And I've got this whole thing fit for 50. And so this year I'm going to transform my body in some regards, hopefully in a positive direction, not the opposite direction. Again, not drinking so much alcohol, that kind of stuff is also, I think, going to benefit me. And but anyway, I use that hour early to get in and get my workout in, get back, get a shower. And then I get to the office and I do this next thing that I do that is really, really important to me. Is meditation. Now, I know there's all sorts of people, and I've talked about it on this podcast, there's all sorts of people that are talking about it now. It's like, oh my God, that's the secret to success, and Richard Branson, and, all these bigwig famous people, of which I am not yet, unless you want to make me that. I would love that. Feel free. You got my number. Call me. Anyway, I have done meditation for, probably about 4 or 5 years now after my good friend and co-host of my other podcast, just to plug, Conversations with Asha and Steve, Dr. Asha Prasad. She and I have some great conversations, witty banter about leadership, entrepreneurship, health, mind, body, fitness, all that good stuff. She's the one that sort of finally kicked me in the ass and said, look, you need to take your stress level down. You need to find a way to get that situation under wraps so that you can start to, take better care of yourself. And meditation, mental fitness is just as important as the physical fitness. So I get the workout in, I get that shower, get to the office, and the first thing I do is meditate before I get my coffee, before I do really anything. And then what I'm doing actually is a couple of things. I'm utilizing that time to journal. So again, popping up the journal here. I am, and by the way, when I struggle to write anything for the journal, one thing I want to plug for a good friend of mine, I've got these Tell Me Insight cards from my friend Cynthia Berg. She's a phenomenal person, and I am looking at her website. It's called Of Ink and Insight spelled IGHT, of ink and insight.com. You can check out, she's into volume 2 of her cards, but they're little writing prompts. Cynthia is a coach, much like me. She is just a phenomenal person. But one of the things and her passions is creating environments where people can really stimulate their creative writing. And so she's created these wonderful cards that are actually little prompts to get you started. And so when I really struggle to write something in my journal, I use the Tell Me Insight cards. Hopefully that's appearing on the video there. Woo, these are awesome. I will tell you. And they're so pretty. She's done a really phenomenal job, just so you can kind of see. She's got this kind of Tell Me Insight card, and then she's got this beautiful question. So, what they'll say when I'm gone. Ooh, that's a good one. Here's another one. If I could teach a class on any subject. And again, these are just prompts to get you going and to get you started in the writing process. So that's huge. So meditate, and then I journal, and then I actually read a little bit. So right now I'm actually reading Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss, or Timothy Ferriss. Tim Ferriss has recently moved to Austin. I feel like he and I should be best friends. Anybody that knows Tim, that knows me, maybe put us in touch and say, Tim, you need to know the Ripple guy, because he's one awesome dude. I mean, he's old. He's like 50 now, but he's still awesome. And he has a maturity level of somewhere between 13 and 15. I think you like him. Anyway, I read Tribe of Mentors. He's also got another book. I can't remember the title. this Tribe of Mentors one is really good because it actually is little divots of information little interviews that he's done with different people that he's found in his path, and people that have inspired him, well-known artists and authors and entrepreneurs. And he kind of asks them their secret to life, right? So what makes them successful and what makes them tick. So every day I'm getting a little bit of that goodness that comes in. And I don't read a lot, unless I'm reading a book that I'm really into. I'll try and read a chapter. I've got this great little meditation studio I've established at the office. So that's my place to do all this stuff before my team gets in and the hustle and bustle of the day happens. That is huge for me. And so I do those things. But with this, you never know what kind of nugget of idea will come out of it and where you'll be inspired. And so that, my friends, is huge for me. And so that's another habit that I've established that's really made a difference. And I think something could benefit you as well. I'm just looking at my notes here because I want to make sure that we, cover them all. The other thing that I have done in the evenings relative to reading is pleasure reading. Now, I mentioned, as you kind of see is on the YouTube channel here, when you look, I've got all these fabulous little toys and inspirational things around my office. Actually, as you look back behind me, hey, by the way, one of my coolest gifts that I got over the holidays was this thing. That is the Mandalorian. My good friend and COO, Phil Burke, got me that. And I used to have a bunch of comic book tins that are over there, and I had to take that wall. I had to take that wall completely down to this, just to give it proper homage, right? So I've got these, this great picture of the Mandalorian, unbelievable drawing of it, and then down below it is actually, it's kind of funny. I don't know if I can do my video. Right down below, right there, is a kind of a schematic of a lightsaber. Kind of funny. That's actually tissue paper that came with my Star Wars tennis shoes. But I like the tissue paper. Yes, I'm that big a nerd. I took the tissue paper, straightened it out because it's got the schematics of the lightsaber, just in case I might decide to buy one. But as I mentioned, I'm a nerd, so I like comic books. I watch or read some of the graphic novels, but most of the time it's either I'm reading for pleasure right before bed, a Star Wars comic book. I know. Again, go to my earlier comment of I am 15, and now this is probably taking my maturity level down to like 10. Comic books just make me happy. They always have, and I used to be or insecure about it and be like, that's kind of a kid's thing. No, they put some really great storylines into these comic books, and so I'm like the oldest dude that walks into the comic book store. Not really. I'm in Austin. I mean, there's a lot of dorks in this town. But they always know when the old dude shows up, like, hey, Rebel Man, yeah, you're here for your subscription? I am. Yes, sell me more. Yes, please. I had to take a drink of my coffee. Oh, so good. Anyway, I read that at night, or I read something nonfiction. And I used to read business, strategies and idea books at night. And what I found is that actually just stimulated my brain about what I needed to do or how far I'm not going with my life or career. And that was a never-ending dead-end spiral for me for having a good restful night. So that was no bueno. So I've stopped that and started doing some pleasure reading and getting back. The other thing I'm doing on the reading, just to give you some perspective, the best investment I made over the last 2 years was Audible. Audible has been a great way as I'm doing my gym or I'm driving somewhere to listen to books and be inspired. I crushed an insane amount of books. I probably haven't read that many books in both hard copy and Audible books in a very long time. And so I'm kind of proud of that because this year was, in 2020 was an odd year, but we had some extra time on our hands and I could have just sat around and watched Netflix, but instead I read or listened to books. So that was good. It was a good productive use of my time and picked up a lot of great content, a lot of great information, uncovered some interests in several subjects that I never knew I had. But that's the other thing I'm doing relative to a great daily habit. The other aspect of what I'm doing is learning new skills. So as I am showing right now in the studio here, this took me forever to figure out how to make the studio the way I wanted it, and ultimately to figure out how to be able to do videos like this in multi-camera. And the multi-camera thing was just kind of a cool thing I saw other YouTubers doing. Not that I could ever be that. I'm not an influencer. I'm not that popular. Heck, I think I have 8 subscribers to my channel. So again, if you would be just so great to throw me a bone and subscribe, like, and turn on that notification bell, you would make my life. That would be awesome. And share it with your friends and family and go like, hey, this guy, I don't know. He's got something, a little something. We don't know what it is, but he's occasional, and I don't overwhelm you. I don't like YouTube all the time. Just like this podcast, I do these things a couple of times a month, if that. And I just try and bring you good content, try and entertain you a little bit, try and get you mind focused on the right things, how to build relationships the right way, how to connect better at work, how to engage your team if you're in a leadership capacity, how to grow as a person. I've had a lot of growing, and I've had a lot of challenges in my life and my career. And if I can give one piece of advice that can benefit you, or I can give you one idea or strategy that can help you along your journey, then man, that is the ultimate ripple for me, right? So that's ultimately what I'm hoping to accomplish by doing these things. But anyway, I digress. I don't mean to beg for subscribers on YouTube, but I'm not above it. I'm really not. Please. No, sorry. I'm cowing. What am I doing? Oh, I'm playing to the camera. That's what I'm doing. Please subscribe to this channel. Down below. Subscribe. Anyway, but learning a new skill. Yeah, I get off on these tangents. Clearly had a lot of coffee this morning. Learned a new skill. How to do some Photoshop. That was something that I did and learned during the pandemic a little bit better. I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, every time I get an open Photoshop, I feel like I'm doing it for the first time. So I'm definitely not that great at it, but I have learned to do a little bit of my own video editing. Most of my videos that are so professionally done are done by my son, who is a genius. Zach Harper is fantastic in the media realm. I would just like to be 1/10 of as great as he is. And then I have learned like this multi-camera setup. How do I get my studio the way I see other people have their studio? Great lighting in the background, make it look cool, have a good vibe. Again, if you're hearing the podcast, you're not seeing what I'm talking about. So just come find this video, check it out. But at the end of the day, it's been a lot of fun to learn these things. So over the course of the last year, I've learned some technical skills. I've learned a little bit about some of my nuances on the back end for my website and some of my different aspects. We just are about to release a new program. Well, it's not new, but it's a new way to deliver my virtual Ripple coaching program. So I've gotten into a platform that allows me to host all the sessions in a way that's really simple and refined over the process that we were doing previously. So I think that's going to help with people that are doing it and taking it, and always a way for them to come back to it, which is really fantastic. And, just pushing myself to learn a little bit more has been an unbelievably great habit. Because here's the thing, my friends, you never stop learning. Because when you stop learning, you stagnate. And when you stagnate, you get, stuck, you get depressed, you have no desire or motivation to do anything, which makes life super boring, super predictable, and super disappointing in a lot of ways. And I will tell you, I have gone, one of my cameras just went dead. Great. Yeah, my battery died, I guess. Dang it, Jim. I wondered if I had plugged in the power, but I did not. But apparently I did not. Anyway, going to the wide angle now. I will say that one of the things that I did go through as kind of a period of time in my life was not doing any of these habits and not learning, pushing myself to learn more, not exposing myself to new ideas and concepts, not doing anything of value, which then made life more boring and predictable. Boring and predictable is a signature for a pink slip on an early grave, right? Is it pink slip on an early grave? Maybe it's an ownership slip. Maybe, yeah, it's closing on an early grave. You don't want to do that, my friends. You want to find some habits that you can do that don't feel like a chore, but that become some element of making you better than who you are, helping you figure out how to become a better version of yourself, whether it is all the ones that I've shared with you today or ones that you can adopt on your own. I would love to hear from any of you, whether it's comments on the blog, shoot me an email, podcast, shoot me an email, steve@ripplecentral.com, or drop a comment below on this YouTube channel or this YouTube video and let me know what some of the habits are that you've adopted. But find those. Stick to them. Make them part of your day-to-day structure. And it's amazing how it will stimulate your mind. It'll stimulate your motivation, and it'll drive you to be and want to be a better person. And that's what it's all about. And here's the thing, to be a great Rippler, to be able to create value out there in the world, it's absolutely necessary and critical for you to take the steps to better yourself before you can better the world. So, welcome to the new year. I hope you have a fantastic start to it. I hope you stay healthy, happy, and you find your own approach to this, successful daily habits in some way, shape, or form. But let me know what they are, and let me know what works for you or what hasn't worked for you. And if you're struggling with it, reach out to me. I've got some ideas, some thoughts that I could share with you that can maybe put you on the right path. Anyway, that is my thoughts today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, as always, for sharing this information, letting people know about what I'm doing here on these channels, my podcast and my YouTube. It means the world to me. It really does. And I greatly, greatly appreciate everything that you guys do. New stuff coming out on the website. We've got some new merch. The hats are out there now, but we've got hoodies that are badass that are coming. We also have a water bottle. I don't think you guys can see it. Water bottle there. Boop. There's the new edition to the book. Ripple Effect, Maximizing the Power of Relationships for Your Life and Business is available now at ripplecentral.com. And by demand, it is going on Amazon. It was supposed to go on last Thursday for my birthday. It was on there for about a day, and then something happened. I'm not sure. Amazon's got to get back to me and figure out why it's there. The Audible version is there, and it's on sale right now, $9.99. You can, not Audible. Kindle, $9.99. Audible is, we're going through QC check right now. QC check should have us up for Audible within the next, hopefully by the end of the month. So I'm so jazzed. That was also another process that I went through to learn it. I created my audiobook. I engineered it. I did all of the editing. It was a ridiculously long, arduous 30, 40 hour project to get 6 hours and 12 minutes recorded, but it ended up being a labor of love, and I can't wait to write my next book so that I can do that and bring you more great content that hopefully benefits you in some regard. So, my friends, thank you as always for being a part of this journey. Thank you for always being there for me. I cannot begin to tell you or extend enough gratitude to those of you that checked in or commented on Facebook over this situation with my dad. You know how challenging it was to be so far away from him. He's in Albuquerque, I'm in Austin, to have this situation the way it is. Trying to care for an elderly parent with over 700 plus miles away is not easy. And it has in some respects brought my siblings and I a little bit closer. Totally different podcast. That could be a Dr. Phil episode right there about our family challenges. But there is some positive, and ultimately the most positive is to see how many people care about me, by extension care about him, and it really means the world to me. And of course, to see him be such a fighter. I hope I can be half the man that he is at his age when I get there, hopefully. Anyway, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day or night whenever you happen to be watching or listening to this. And as always, ripple on.